Here are some real estate terms you need to know if you're getting ready to list your home. What is a listing agreement? A listing agreement is an agreement between you, the seller, and the brokerage stating all of the terms and conditions of that listing. Basically, it is the contract that you're agreeing to list your home with a particular brokerage, and it lines out all the terms of that agreement, like commission, what's going to happen if the home doesn't sell, and everything else legally that you need to know when you're putting your home on the market. Production day, that's what we like to call it, but that's the day that you're going to get your professional photos taken, hopefully a video, hopefully a drone, hopefully a Matterport walkthrough. These are all the things that the agent's going to use to put your home on the MLS and to market your home to all the potential buyers that are out there. What is the live date? The live date is the home that your home. That is the date your home is going to actually go live on the MLS. And what does that mean? That is the date that it's going to be pushed out to all the different websites so all the potential buyers can see that your home is now available for sale. Hopefully you never have to hear this word when you're selling your home: price reduction. Hopefully you've listened to your real estate professional and listed the home properly from the very get-go. But if you didn't, if you insisted on a price up here, you may have to do a price reduction. And a price reduction is simply lowering the list price of your home. And what it does is it actually pushes your home back up to the top of the list of all the new homes that come on the market. So it basically hits what we realtors like to call the hot sheet. And basically the home will be pushed back out to anybody that has saved that home on a website to show that your home has now reduced the price. Now that's a good thing because you can get the home in front of new buyers, but it also can show potential buyers that you're willing to take less than you were originally listing the home for, setting their mind up for potentially coming in even lower than that because you may look desperate. What is a reverse offer? Well, this is a little insider secret. Not all agents even know about this. So when you hire a really good real estate professional, they're going to tell you about reverse offers. We use this when, let's say, an agent brings a potential buyer to your home. They come and look at it and they give you feedback that they love the home, but you don't see an offer. And then they schedule a second showing and they come back and you still don't get an offer. Well, at this point, we like to do what we call a reverse offer. And that is you, the seller, actually puts an offer together and we submit it over to the other agent and the buyer, basically to get negotiations started, to show them, hey, we're willing to, we want to work with you. Because a lot of times that buying agent may not have the skill set to kind of push their buyer over the edge and get them to make that initial offer. So we try to get the negotiation started by sending them over a reverse offer and let them know, like, hey, we're ready to sell this house. Let's get to work. Contingencies. A lot of real estate offers, when you get an offer that comes in on your house, it may come with a contingency. Contingencies are something like maybe that potential buyer has to sell their home in order to be able to qualify to buy your home. Maybe they've got contingent on doing a cash out refi, right? There's all sorts of different contingencies that could happen when you're going to sell your home. What are repair limits? Well, on the Florida contract, we have limits set for 3 different categories, okay? 3 different categories that you're gonna have a dollar amount kind of earmarked or set aside. You're gonna need to make repairs up to that particular price, right? So the first one is general repairs. Now, general repairs cover anything to do with your roof, your HVAC, your electrical, your plumbing. And basically that means that all of those things have to be in proper working order, right? You can't have a hole in your roof and water pouring in and expect that to not be something you have to take care of as a seller before you sell your home. It also goes as far down as to, like, let's say you have a bathroom door lock and the lock doesn't work. Is that lock supposed to work? Yes. Well, that would be considered something that you need to take care of prior to closing for that potential buyer if it shows up on their home inspection and they ask you to repair it. That is a general repair. So it's anything that hurts the functionality or the general use of your home. The second part of your repair limits is your WDO. WDO stands for wood destroying organisms, otherwise known as potentially termites. So what this means is you're gonna have a set dollar amount that says you're gonna pay up to, let's say $500 to repair anything that the termite inspection may find when they do their inspection, okay? So they may find some wood rot on a door. Well, guess what? You've got $500 limit and it only costs you $200 to fix. You go and fix that for the potential buyer, because on most loans, they're gonna need a clear WDO inspection in order for the loan to fund. The third repair limit that you have to deal with when you're receiving an offer on your home has to do with potentially open permits. So if you got your AC replaced last year and the guy who replaced it forgot to close out the permit, that permit may be still open in county records, so that permit will need to be closed in order to sell your home. What is a home inspection? A home inspection is when the buyer hires a home inspector to come out and inspect your home for all things, make sure everything's working and functioning properly. Now, what they're gonna really put their main focus on: roof, electrical, HVAC, and air conditioner. Those are the top big four things they're really gonna look at. But they're also gonna look at, do all the sinks drain properly? Of course, that's part of the plumbing, but they're gonna make sure the functionality of the home and everything is in working order. What they're not gonna look for is anything cosmetic. Now, they may document it on their report, but per the repair limits, you're not gonna be responsible to repair anything cosmetic unless that buyer has specifically outlined something on their initial offer. What does cosmetic entail? Like if you've got a scuff on the wall, right? The paint peeling a little bit in one particular area, that's considered cosmetic because it doesn't hurt the functionality of a home. Or you've got, stained carpeting, all those things that you would look at, maybe an eyesore, but you're not really responsible to have to repair those on the actual repair request. What is an appraisal? An appraisal is when the bank hires a real estate appraiser to go out and look for the value of your home, right? So when you're selling your home, you actually need to sell the home 3 times. What do I mean by that? You need to sell it, 1, to the buyer to get them to write a potential offer. 2, you got to sell it to the real estate professional because they're going to be advising their buyer. They're going to make sure that they think the house is worth what you're asking for it. And number 3, you're going to need to sell it to the appraiser, right? The appraiser's there to find the value of the home, to make sure that the bank, if the bank's lending $300,000 on the house, they need to make sure that the house is worth $300,000. So in case you default immediately after closing, that they're not stuck with some property that they can't turn around and resell for what they originally lent you the money on. Closing costs. What are closing costs? Well, there's a lot of different closing costs when it comes to selling your home. So there are certain things that the buyer's responsible for. There's also certain closing costs that the seller's responsible for. In Florida, the seller's responsible to pay for doc stamps on the deed, commission, and then proration of real estate taxes, right? The buyer is going to have to pay closing costs for like their lender, they're going to have to pay for their inspection, they're going to have to pay for their appraisal, there may be a survey that's needed. So these are all things that are all part of and encompassed into the closing, and also the actual closing itself. You got to pay the title company to actually close the sale of the property. Now, depending on the offer, the buyer may potentially ask you for closing costs. So a great real estate professional will give you all of this information up front when you sit down for a consultation. We are very forthright. We make sure that our sellers know that, hey, this is what it could look like if a buyer asks you to pay all their closing costs. This is what it's going to look like if they don't ask you to pay any of them. Because potentially you don't know what that offer is going to look like until you get it. What is clear to close? Clear to close means the lender has all the documentation, everything they need, they're ready to close. So typically this happens a couple days before closing, and then now you can set your final in-stone closing date. What is the final walkthrough? The final walkthrough is the last time the buyer is going to come through the house to make sure that everything is in the same condition that it was the day that they viewed the property, and that if there was any repairs that needed to be made from the home inspection, that you've taken care of and gotten all those repairs done to make sure that they're up to their standard and that everything has been met contractually so that we can go to closing usually the following day. What is closing day? It's exactly like it sounds. It's the day you're going to close on the sale of your property and move on to your new home.